Okay.
Nice. All right. Welcome to the world of tomorrow. Um, so yeah, I'm Morgan. I'm an engineering manager at not Pivotal. I mean, not VMware. I mean, BetterUp, which I haven't started yet. Actually, I start the first. So I'm in the middle of my last week at VMware. You can experience semi-annual tweets at @fmorgan. So I don't use Twitter very much, but if you really wanted to track me down, you could probably find me there. So, um, so my pitch is the future's already here. We just haven't realized it yet. 2020 was educational, interesting, unprecedented. It is unprecedented how many times I've heard the word unprecedented in the last year. I'm like, oh my God, everybody stop saying that word. But it's been kind of a crazy year. We had like presidents that yelled at people, murder hornets, COVID-19, whole giant parts of the world completely on fire, some icons. We lost some tragedies, some protests, more losses, and some terrible people got some minor amount of justice, I guess. So it's hard to think about 2020 and not think about all of this bad stuff. It's probably like really obvious that I'm like hyper liberal at this point, but yeah, there was a lot of challenging stuff to get through in 2020. We had a few good things. We sent some new people to space. That was cool. Come on, Kamala, first woman vice president. Amazing. Technically not the first vice president of color, I learned. There's somebody who was like way back in the day was like one something percentage of something. But I still think she gets the credit for both. Crayola released Colors of the World crayons, which are crayons in every skin tone imaginable so that every kid can have crayons to color people of their own skin color, right? And it's funny, I was researching good things that happened in 2020, and I found an article about this guy who rescued this dog who'd been in a shelter for almost 2 years. And I was like, man, that guy kind of looks like this guy, Josh, that I used to work with. And then I started reading the article, and I'm like, that is Josh that I used to work with. So I told him he was going to get a cameo in my presentation. But that's Drools is his dog. And yeah, that dog was in a shelter for over 700 days and he rescued it. So there are some good things about 2020. Okay, so this is kind of the main thing here is the work from home cat is out of the bag. Also, I want to pause. Do people know where the term cats out of the bag comes from? Because this is something I decided to learn.
No.
Apparently, farmers would sell piglets at markets, and then people would take the piglets home and raise them and grow them and then eat them. But what they would do is they would take the piglet and just like put it in a bag and then like give them the bag. But apparently, a lot of them would, when the customer wasn't looking, would switch it out with a cat. And then so they wouldn't know until they got home, and then the cat's out of the bag and they realized the truth that they were swindled. So anyway, it's a little trivia for you today too. So in 2017, 5.2% of the US worked from home. That's roughly 8 million people. In 2020, 42% of the US is now working from home. That's about 64 million people, an increase of about 800% from 2017, which is just like kind of mind-blowing when you think about how many people that is. Get used to it. Not only will this be the new normal, it's going to accelerate. So this is my prediction. So according to a Stanford survey of 16,000 workers, productivity employees increased by 13% for when they started working from home. And this is due to a quieter work environment, fewer sick days, and fewer breaks. I don't really like the fewer breaks part. I don't encourage taking fewer breaks, but I'm gonna maybe I should rebrand that as fewer interruptions. But yeah. And in addition, we have improved work satisfaction. People working from home rate higher levels of work satisfaction. Attrition dropped by 50% on average for groups of people that worked from home. And actually, while some workers, their productivity and their happiness tends to be kind of pretty comparable, whether they're in an office or at home, people who do creative work get a huge boost from working from home. And anybody who's writing code or building products or these are all most of us, I'm guessing, in this room, I would consider creative workers. So yeah, so this is a boon to the business side, right? So now that we're not so scared, the collective we, of whether or not people can work from home, and that we don't need babysitters and offices to make sure we're doing our jobs, uh, they will need to move to a more distributed models to remain competitive. They can save a ton of money by giving up real estate. Actually, the company I'm moving to gave up their offices in San Francisco and now have no physical office. And they're not planning on going back to that unless they find some reason to in the future. Get that talent. You can recruit the best without worrying about where they're located. This is also a really great thing for building diverse teams. It's a lot easier to find a diverse workforce when you're not, constrained to a geography, which you're limited to the demographics of that geography. If employees are more productive and happier, right? This is a win-win for businesses. I put the COVID disclaimer on here because as a very outgoing person, I feel like working from home full time is going to be a challenge for me. But I think that when things are more normal-ish and I can have more social interaction outside the house during my evenings and weekends, I think it won't be so bad. But obviously right now we're all just little boxes. Like, I don't think any of you are even real. So this is all just a simulation. What does this mean for me, Morgan? Let's talk about that. So stop pretending it's temporary. It's time to take a long, hard look at your situation and prepare for the long haul. So do some nesting. It's my first piece of advice. Get comfortable, get organized, spend some money or get your employer to. I found interesting when I was doing sort of my job search for this latest job, I ended up interviewing with GitHub, and they give new employees $2,000 when they are hired to outfit their home office. That's not like computers and stuff. That's just like, here's $2,000 to make like your home office a wonderful place for you to be, which I think is great. And I think more companies should do that. Talk to your cohabitants. For example, my son screaming angrily into his microphone while he's playing online games while I'm like trying to conduct meetings, probably not great, right? So whether it's your roommates, your children, your spouse, your pets, I don't know how well those conversations might go, but like, actually have the conversation and understand what it's going to be like and do that. So rethink how you work. Right, we're all distributed now. The tracker team was lucky enough to use a lot of distributed friendly tools because we had some distributed folks. So when we went full distributed, it was a little less jarring, but like things like Miro have been great. The rules of engagement change. How do you communicate? The cadence. So like, how long do you sit at your desk before taking a break? There's no longer the like, oh, that meeting got out, which means I now like subconsciously know it's 10 o'clock because those people are leaving the room like they normally do. So I'm going to go get something to eat, right? It's like, you're going to have to figure out a way to set your schedule. Reinvent communication and team building. So, all those things we're missing, the hallway conversations, the wonderful conversations before and after meetings, the way that we communicate information in a consistent way, all that has to be rethought. Yeah. So take care of yourself also. I think this is something that everybody needs to really think about, even people that were distributed before, which is like the people who you're working with may have different patterns. Like everything, like I don't think anybody's escaping from this completely unchanged unless you worked for a fully distributed company all before. But get the right fuel, right? So like maybe like, have some healthy stuff around your house to eat during the day. Don't do what I do and eat like a bunch of like junk food and candy, even though it's wonderful. Move that body. I bought myself an adjustable desk that goes up and down so I can stand for part of the day. Check in on your mental health. This is really important. We're all dealing with a lot more isolation, and a lot of the comforts that we would go to when we were stressed are not available to us. Be aware of what your needs are, connect with people, and do something that effing matters. So I spent a lot of time thinking about this lately. And for me, this big graphic on the right is my main one. I talk about this all the time. There's this drug-fueled 60s adventure of a record / storybook called The Point. And this guy says a point in every direction is the same as no point at all. And after the VMware acquisition, like it took me a while to realize just how pointless I felt like things had become. So it was amazing how easy it was to find quotes about how having an impact and meaning at work actually matters. So like I searched for like 2 minutes and found all of these quotes. So I think that's going to help us all by having something to focus our energy on that we feel like is making the world a better place. And one more thing. If you are a tabletop RPG player, I'm looking for some beta testers for a product I'm building. Super early days. It's basically a lightweight miniature virtual tabletop. Let's roll.org. And it's sort of like just you get everybody logged in, and it's like a shared room for rolling dice and some other things. And I'm adding lots and lots of stuff to it every day. So if you are into that sort of thing, feel free to reach out, and you can just go sign up. Just give me some feedback. That's it. I'm done.
Cool. Thank you, Morgan. That was awesome. Man, I am surprised that 42% of workers are working from home now. That's high to
Yeah,
me.
it's crazy. I was too. I was like, that can't be right.
Man, yeah. I mean, that's great though. I'm glad people are staying safe.